I saw this headline in my local newspaper. Like it or not, the gypsies are coming. I thought, this is racist. How could they write something like this? I complained to the editor of the Watford Observer and said, that is a racist headline. And also in the article, you have not quoted from any gypsy or Roma organisation or Irish travelling organisation. It's a completely one-sided story. And the editor wrote back and said, okay, so we've changed our code book now, so in future we'll make sure that we do double check that they are really gypsies. I thought, you've missed the point completely. You've missed it. So I decided to complain to the Press Complaints Commission. So when you complain to the Press Complaints Commission, let me tell you, this is a very arcane bureaucratic procedure. Somebody wrote to me yesterday that they are in chaos. They're an organisation that's in disarray. I totally disagree. This is an organisation who knows how to organise things in a very peculiar way on purpose. They want to put you off. They don't want people like me complaining. They don't want anyone complaining. They'd much prefer that we didn't. So this is the list of the 16 codes. Remember that Paul Dacre is in charge of this code of practice, and you have to choose one. If you don't choose a code, you get ignored. If you don't follow their procedure, you're stuffed. So you have to decide out of those 16 which code you're complaining, or codes, all right? So I looked at this and thought, it's not accuracy really. Gypsies are coming. It has to be code number 12, discrimination. This is discrimination against a whole group of people. So I made my complaint, and the Press Complaints considered it. And they came back and said, the headline, like it or not, the gypsies are coming, was not discriminatory under Clause 12 of the Editor's Code of Practice because no actual individual was named. Now this is very strange. An individual has to be named. So if you look closely at Clause 12, which we're going to do, it actually says an individual's race, colour, religion, an individual. Okay? So this is a very peculiar thing. Code 12 does not cover groups. It does not cover nationalities. It does not cover a whole ethnic group of people. Only an individual. You couldn't say under the code, Mr. Smith is stupid because he's a gypsy, because that names his individual. But you could say all gypsies are stupid. You could. And let me prove to you that you can. So I wrote back to the Press Complaints Commission and said, this is quite ridiculous. What is race discrimination if you cannot complain about discrimination against an entire race? Isn't that what it's all about? So I wrote to them and I said, okay, let me send you some imaginary headlines of an imaginary newspaper. Actually, it's not that imaginary, as you'll see. And I hope no one is flying by the window in a minute and having a look at some of these headlines, because they will be very angry and they'll report me. So I said, what about Jews are not fit to run a business? Could you have that as a headline? How about, like it or not, the blacks are ignorant? Could you have that as a headline? All Muslims are terrorists. How about that one? UK better off without Asians. How about that as a headline? Would the PCC take that one up? Or wheelchair users are lazy. And what about most gypsies still babies? How about that for a headline? Would the PCC take any of these headlines up? And, oh, I didn't know there's another one. All Catholics are shoplifters. So there we are. The response. The headlines you hypothetically quote could not be considered to raise a breach of Clause 12. There you are. There you have it in black and white. What about this Clause 12? Certainly there are organisations who are very concerned about it. National Journalists, who I'm a member of, they're concerned. They believe that we should be able to complain about discrimination of a group and not just an individual. This is a glaring fault in the code of the Press Complaints Commission. It needs to be corrected. So Leveson, what did he find? He thought that the existing Press Complaints Commission is not sufficient, and he recommended a new independent body. So let me tell you some news which you may not know. The Press Complaints Commission is closing down. On the 1st of May, we have IPSO, the Press Standards Organisation, and they are practically the same. It's the same building. It's the same company number. They just changed their name. And what's more, it's the same code of practice. I rang them up and said, independent, are you changing your code of practice? Are you going to change Code 12 at all? No, it's all the same. I can't see the point. It's not really independent, is it?